OGTV 45 tapping in. When Zorhan Mamdani made his victory speech and said immigrants built the city, it upset a lot of people. It upset me too, but what upset me more was the amount of cheers I heard in response to that.
A city built by immigrants.
What upset me more was how many people actually believe that to be true.
A city built by immigrants.
How could immigrants have built New York City when New York City had the largest enslaved population of any northern state in America?
A city built by immigrants.
Let me guess, you thought slaves were immigrants? See, that's why they don't want y'all working if you can't speak English. Before Wall Street sold stocks and bonds, they sold slaves.
If you think Wall Street is just about stocks and bonds, think again. Its roots are far darker and more sinister. In 1711, New York City officials decreed that all Negro slaves for hire be traded at the market house on Wall Street. Yes, Wall Street started as a slave market. US banks didn't just fund plantations, they used enslaved people as collateral for mortgages, turning humans into commodities. Just before the Civil War, nearly 4 million slaves in the US had an estimated market value of over $3 billion. Major corporations thrived off slavery, through loans, collateral ownership, and even slave insurance policies. Slave owners were paid for lost property, while the enslaved received nothing. And even after abolition in 1865, African Americans faced peonage, convict leasing, and chain gangs, practices that forced them into labor until the 1940s.
I'm talking to all you immigrants who really think and believe New York was built by immigrants. Do you have any idea what the peonage system was? It was after slavery was over, they introduced some new laws called vagrancy and loitering, which means if you was just standing around, nigga, you was committing a crime. So they could lock your ass back up and make you work again for free after slavery was over. So don't think because when they ended slavery, they stopped enslaving us. No, they tricked you with a new way to do it. Once the slaves is free, you ain't got nothing. Anywhere you stand, you're pretty much loitering. So you're breaking the law just by being black. That's peonage. Y'all didn't go through that.
The 13th Amendment ended slavery, but with a loophole. It allowed forced labor for those convicted of crimes. So next time you think of Wall Street, remember its true origin. A history built on exploitation and suffering.
York Hill and Seneca Village, which was later destroyed to become Central Park. Those black communities weren't built until after slavery. Slavery was still going on until they were freed. Those individual slaves were freed. They built Seneca Village in 1825. It was destroyed in 1857 to make Central Park. Where were you immigrants at?
Central Park used to have a black community in it called York Hill. But the city of New York destroyed York Hill so that they could build the Central Park Reservoir. Now, when the residents of York Hill were kicked out of their homes, they fled to another black community nearby called Seneca Village. And then a few years later, New York destroyed Seneca Village too, so that they could build Central Park on top of it. The craziest part of this story is that I work a few blocks away from a place where the government disappeared 2 black communities. And until recently, I didn't know about any of it. You know why? Because it worked. They tried to erase black communities, and they came way too close.
Those slaves who were freed and were allowed to build Seneca Village in the middle of New York, they were freed from building New York. Where were you immigrants at? The Africans, the Arabs, the Latinos, where were y'all at? Y'all built the city? Y'all some lying pieces of shit. You thought immigrants built Brooklyn? Are you dumb? Brooklyn was a swamp. You know what the Gowanus Canal is? If niggas didn't dig the swamp out by hand, dying by the hundreds of thousands in that toxic waste, having to clear that out, there wouldn't even be no Brooklyn. Immigrants built the city?
Brooklyn's Gowanus Canal was built by enslaved African Americans who were worked to their graves in poisonous swamp water, then completely erased when it made white families millions. Enslaved Africans spent decades digging through toxic marshes that caused immediate sickness and countless preventable losses, while Dutch masters got rich. Here's the most twisted part. When enslaved workers got too sick or passed away from the poisonous conditions, masters simply bought more black people to replace them like broken tools. The swamp work was so dangerous that white people refused to do it, so they forced African Americans to sacrifice their black excellence for Brooklyn's profit. But this gets even more evil. After generations of black families gave everything to create this waterway, white historians completely wrote them out of the story. Today, the canal is famous for being one of America's most contaminated sites, but nobody talks about how black blood mixed with that toxic water first. The same families who got rich off enslaved labor later became Brooklyn's elite, building mansions and businesses with money earned from black graves. This canal represents 400 years of environmental racism. Poison the black workers, profit from their labor, then erase their memory. Comment if you never knew Brooklyn was built on black graves and toxic swamps.
If you a black immigrant, a Caribbean, a Jamaican, a Haitian, a Trinidadian, from anywhere out that way, Antigua and wherever else, if you are African, any black identifying immigrant, when Zorhan Mamdani said, immigrants built the city, if you know that you cheered and you was dapping up the people amongst you, yeah, that's right, if you had those sentiments, if you said that at any point in time, then just stay over there and rep immigrant. How about that? You just rep immigrant. Stop claiming black when black people built this country. And y'all not for that. Y'all believe immigrants built this country. So claim immigrant, especially if you in Brooklyn, because you walking on the graves of dead black slaves. Ain't nobody immigrated over here when there was nothing here. All y'all immigrated to something, to gain something, for something. Nobody immigrates to a place that's worse than where they're already at. Y'all want to take credit for what our ancestors did? And you think y'all gonna do good? You think y'all gonna prosper? Now y'all gonna fall. That whole city gonna fall. Everybody who cheered that on, immigrants built that city, is gonna fall. The original New York City, Lower Manhattan, was physically built by slaves. Everything from the roads to the docks to the bricks that they made the buildings with. The slaves made the bricks. Battery Park, Bowling Green, Broadway, that whole financial district down there was built by slaves. The early wealth that made New York the financial capital of the world was rooted in slavery and slave trade profits. You niggas are so jealous you don't even see where you're being disrespectful at, man. You're being disrespectful by applauding that. Again, I'm gonna keep my boy in mind who told me to look at things from the other side of the coin. Perhaps you guys aren't trying to discredit our black American ancestors who actually built this country. Perhaps there's a language barrier and y'all really don't understand what the word built means. Perhaps you guys think if you move into a new house and you paint it, you built it. Or if you move into a new house and you plant some nice shrubbery and bushes and along the side to make it, landscape and put them pretty little rocks down there and everything, you built it. You guys might believe that putting on the finishing touches is building something. So you're not at fault if you had a misinterpretation of what the word built means. Let me explain to you though, in black American vernacular. Built is the ones who took it from the foundation to the roof. The nigga who slapped some paint on the walls, he didn't build anything. That's the touch-up crew. You immigrant niggas is the touch-up crew. You came to put the finishing touches on something that was already built. You didn't build anything. You have a misinterpretation of what the word build means. If you wasn't here when the foundation was laid, you could not have participating in laid the foundation. If you wasn't here when the roof got put on, you could not have participated in putting the roof on. 1626 to 1827, where was you at? You niggas was not in New York building anything. Ain't no black immigrant came from a country where the white people was the majority. That means don't none of y'all really know white people. No black immigrants. Let's talk about it. You don't know who nobody is till they get the numbers. That's a fact. In South Carolina, there's a few Mexicans down there, a few Africans down there, a few Caribbeans down there. You will never see them act up, though, or get out of line. Why? It ain't 50 of them niggas in the whole city. It's a couple million black niggas down there. So all the black niggas down there, majority think that they're all nice, kind people because they've never seen them when they have the numbers. Go to L.A. when the Mexicans have the numbers, and you'll see them act completely different than they act in South Carolina when they don't have the numbers. And that goes for every ethnic group. Up north in New York, Connecticut, Jersey, up in that area, anybody who's done time that's black will tell you when Puerto Ricans get the numbers, they act different. It's just a fact. It's what people do. So none of y'all have experienced white people with the numbers. They just came into wherever y'all was with a little bit of them and kicked y'all ass. We've been here with them only 12, 13, 14% of the population, where they're the mass majority for centuries. Y'all don't know them like we know them. So when slavery's over and it's time to pay us for the jobs, we know what we supposed to be getting paid. We want to get paid the same thing y'all was getting paid. They knew. Y'all didn't know that. Y'all don't know what they're getting paid. Y'all gonna come over here and take whatever the hell they give them and be happy about it because it's more than you were getting where you were at. We don't have that mentality. We've been here from the rooter to the tutor. We know. We ain't taking that. We ain't working for that. And y'all come over here and think we're lazy. Y'all come over here and we think y'all dumb for working for that. Because we know what we're supposed to be getting paid. We know what they get paid when they do it. Y'all don't. In order for you dummies to have built anything, you would have had to first destroy what was already there. You can't build on top of something. You can only add to it. You can only put on the finishing touches. Touch up, crew.